Okay. Hey, Eric, how you doing?
I'm all right, Bob.
Um, hey, you guys have not had the lead, I think, in either of these last two games. I know how tough is that to be playing from behind, and how important against a team like Kentucky, that you get off to a good start, keep the crowd in the game, keep having your guys feel good.
Yeah, certainly getting off to a good start. We were able to do that against Texas A&M. I thought it helped fuel our confidence. And when you're playing a team like Kentucky and they're number one in the country in points per game, they're number three in field goal percentage, number seven in 3-point percentage, and eighth in assists. So there's a lot of things defensively and we have a shorter prep. Obviously, they played on Tuesday, we played on Wednesday. The shorter prep time, is a factor as well. So we've got to have a really good practice today. In our preparation, we got to be really clean and concise on because we're not going to have a long drawn out game plan just because of the lack of space here. So transition defense super important, obviously, and defending the three super important, and trying to stay out of rotations important as well.
And then, do you have an update, or what is the update on Tremont and Trevin?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that that Tremont should be getting better each day with the migraine. That's usually the history of how migraines go. But it also very, very unpredictable. And then with TB, he would like to play for sure. But he's got some soreness, and there's a couple different thought processes. Does he rest? Does he see how it feels before tip? So I would say, as of this moment, Bob, I would say, at best a game time decision.
So questionable. Um,
Although I said at best a game time decision.
okay. I know you're not a doctor. We've established that. You're a basketball doctor, I guess. Hey, also Nate was wondering if I could ask you about Devo. I know he didn't play well the other night. I know he had some defensive lapses, but he has, been with you for a long time. Uh, does he figure into the game plan? And just kind of where's he at, do you think, mentally? And is he a guy that you need leadership from? Because obviously he's the guy that's been in the program the longest with you.
Yeah, I think leadership starts with every returning player. Leadership in the locker room, leadership on the floor. I think right now, we need all of our, main rotation guys to play well. I mean, we've when you look at our stats individually and as a team, they've got to improve. In a lot of areas on both sides of the basketball. I mean, we looked at deflections last game, and Joseph Pinion and Denaje Harris led us in deflections. And so we got to improve. We got to get better. We've got to the deflections is just a small part of the game, but it's we went back and charted, and those two guys are the two guys that led us in deflections, which is a little bit surprising. Good for those two guys, but so yeah, we need. I mean, we're playing the number one offensive team in the country, a team that's got a ton of pros, a program and a team. I think Coach Calipari is an incredible coach. Love what he's done with this team and the spacing that they have and the pace that they play with, and he's constantly adjusting and tinkering and I mean, this team's a fun team to watch. I don't know if you want to say that, when you're playing a 40-minute game against them, but when you're not playing them or preparing for them, they're super cosmetically pleasing to watch, super talented. I think the biggest thing that stands out is with all that talent, with the NBA players that they have on their roster, is where they line up with in the country in assists. I mean, 8 assists. So they're doing a great job sharing the ball.
Yeah. I got a couple more, but I'll turn it back to Mike if you have time to come back around to me. Thanks.
Scotty.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, where do you place the importance in this game on transition defense for you guys, and then identifying shooters? You know, when Kentucky does get out and runs that the tempo numbers up there nationally.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, Scotty, I mean, number one, we have deep offensive rebound all year. So I don't know why we'd start, this game. So we should be good in transition defense if you're not going to the glass. We have had, too many sequences where we got guys in no man's land. They're not going to the glass and they're not getting back. That's, equates to our record, in league play. So transition defense for sure. Will it be emphasized today? Absolutely. Identifying shooters. Yes. Who are the shooters? 21 Wagner, Dillingham 0, Reeves 12, Shepard 15. Edwards can make a 3. Mitchell at the 4. And then obviously the big guy 44. All those guys are red shooters. We got to get to them, close airspace on them, contain the basketball in transition.
That sums it up right there. I'm curious. I think you've mentioned
Now
that
you got to go do it, Scotty, or not
Yeah.
you. We have to go execute that.
I don't think I could do that, to be perfect.
I'm not sure you couldn't do it as well. Yeah, maybe at times.
I'm curious. I think you've mentioned your relationship with Coach Cal is pretty good. How is that, I guess, bond that you guys have kind of maybe developed over time?
Just a long history. It started, he used to do he had a group of coaches come in Memphis. It was like a coaching clinic seminar, closed door with just a small group of coaches. And then obviously the international stuff is maybe where I got an opportunity to spend a lot of time with him. Obviously he took my job with the Dominican Republic, and I never got a chance to coach Karl Anthony Towns, but somehow he was on the Dominican team that next year after I left and he was there. And then I was coaching Venezuela, and most of those tournaments, you eat in the same spot, you're in the same hotel, there's a flag for the country that you represent. And obviously, I don't know about Cal's Spanish. Mine's probably a little better than his, but we kind of gravitated to eat together at certain meals. And I think he's a guy that, like, super important, the coaching profession to him. I mean, we all want to win and compete and get after it, but I do think in the SEC coaches meetings and things like that, like, I think everything he talks about is always in the betterment of the profession. I think he's super creative. His ideas about trying to create some type of summer league like the NBA has, to do that in August, super creative, and his winning goes without saying. So tremendous respect. I look at him as a friend, a mentor, somebody that you seek advice from when you need it, and love how his teams are playing this year.
Hutch.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned Joseph Pinion a minute ago with his deflections. Just has he earned himself some more playing time moving forward? And what do you need to see from him so he can maybe have consistent minutes the rest of the way?
I think defensively, Hutch is the big thing, keeping the ball in front of him. And I think he's done a much better job. He's getting low defensively. He works every day. He follows a game plan. You look at his minutes, he's been, as productive, if not more productive in his minutes than a lot of guys that are playing more minutes than him. So certainly we've talked about that. The good thing is, our staff, I got great confidence when I look around the room when we meet, because again, we get to watch these guys in practice, all of them. You talk about Keith Smart, 3-time NBA former head coach. Anthony Reuter's been in the G League. Even Tommy Abenauer, has G League experience and college experience. Todd Lee is a college head coach. Michael's been, with us since our winning at Nevada, and is growing in his career as he had the opportunity to work with the Cavaliers this summer. And so all of us get to answer your question, Hutch, we all I'm getting opinions from a lot of really good, coaches, Anthony Reuter, Fort Wayne, Matt Ant. So these guys come from incredible backgrounds. And we're talking about all the stuff that a lot of the things that you guys are asking to try to come up with the correct answers. But Joseph has done a great job. And obviously I'm searching. I mean, there's, you can go back through every team I've ever coached, and I've never thrown 12 or 13 guys in a game, let alone a half. So, as my mom says, the definition of stupidity is doing the same thing over and over again if it's not working. So I'm going to continue to search, scrap, try to come up and push the right buttons. Obviously, those buttons have not worked as of yet in league play, and we'll continue to do everything we can in our power to try to get our team to play with the identity that it's played with over the last 10 years of college. And even, I take great pride in the Warriors teams and how hard they played in all our minor leagues teams. And we're going to continue to try to work to get this thing. There's still a lot of basketball to be played.
And one of those shooters you mentioned for Kentucky a minute ago was Antonio Reeves. He had a really big game here last year, and I'm just curious.
That wasn't a good game. That was a career game.
Yeah, I'm curious. How do you prevent him from having another one of those type of games? What are the challenges maybe of defending him?
Oh boy, it's going to be harder to defend him this year because they have more shooters around. They have two scoring point guards who can also dribble drive. You got to chase him off screens. I mean, they run some floppy action. We've got to chase him off the single double screens. We got to get to him at the 45-degree angle on their pitch aheads in transition when they throw ahead to him. Baseline out of bounds, he's got a nice floater. They'll run a BOB play that gets him right in a sweet spot for a runner. So there's a multitude of things we got to do. You got to have a hand in his shooting eye space as well.
Okay, Bob.
Yeah, Eric, what are your thoughts on game day being here? I know, this maybe in the best time when you guys are uncharacteristically struggling, but do you see it as a positive, or does that add excitement, or just what's your take on game day being here?
Yeah, no, I take it's awesome. Obviously, you're talking about the A+ crew. You're talking about incredible exposure for the men's basketball program, incredible exposure for the university, incredible for the university. For one day, the University of Arkansas, and leading up to, all you got to do is turn on ESPN, and there's commercials running over and over and over about game day coming here. So what that monetary value is for the school, for the program, I don't know. I'm sure somebody out there can come up with some type of one, but great exposure. It's awesome. As I've texted many of our former players, and if I could text all of our fans, game day is coming based on what's happened here the last 3 years. And even in year one, the enthusiasm and the effort to think about how hard Adriel Bailey played as a 6'6" center and the battles that he had being undersized. Game day is here based on, in my opinion, I'm not in their production meetings, but I'm assuming when the decision was made to come here, it was based on what's happened here over the body of work with the past teams and probably not just the past teams since I've been here, but the teams that Coach Anderson had, the teams that Eddie Sutton had, the team that Nolan Richardson's had. All that stuff has Arkansas on a platform that's a really good spot, even when we're having a year that we would like to have more wins than what we currently have.
You started to say for one day Arkansas, then you didn't finish it. I think that's probably a good quote if you could finish it. You said
Bob,
for one day Arkansas.
Have you not noticed that I stop mid-sentence on a lot of things?
Yeah, sometimes, but I don't want to do ... I'd like to hear you finish the quote.
Help me out. What was the quote again?
You started to say for one day Arkansas, and I think I know what you were going to say, but I obviously can't.
Yeah, it's on the forefront of the college basketball world. It's on, it's got a platform unlike anything else. I've never been a part. I haven't done this a long time, but I have not been a part of game day. So certainly for our players, it should be a once in a lifetime experience. None of our current players have, had that spotlight. And look, we're also on because we're playing Kentucky. I mean, that's part of this thing too. I mean, you're talking about a team that's 14-4, has a ton of NBA players that are going to go on to the next level in a few months. And you're talking about Coach Calipari. And when Coach Cal and the Wildcats come into a building, buildings are sold out. And credit to them. Thanks to the SEC, we're playing them on a weekend, which is, when game day happens.
I know you're not happy. The players aren't happy. Nobody's more pissed off than you all, but the fans obviously aren't happy either. But do you feel like they'll respond and come out and understand, it's a tough year right now and you guys need the support, and they'll show up like they have in the past?
I mean, I hope so. Yeah. This is, to be able to watch a team like Kentucky, my house is full. Bunch of people flew in from Reno. People are flying. 2 guys are coming in from Minnesota. Yeah, so this is I would assume, just based on my staff, my son's got someone coming that works for the Jazz that's a friend of his, and yeah, I mean, everybody's house is full with people flying in from all over. So I would assume that the place will be rocking. Pre-game, now it's up to our team to go out and play and keep the crowd involved. That's what has to happen.
And we know it's been rough SEC play, but you guys beat Duke, you beat Purdue, you had a great half against A&M. What's the team's mindset? And do you feel like, they kind of be galvanized for this game?
Yeah, I mean, as a competitor, Bob, I think, and I've talked about it before games, like, you can never take for granted. I mean, every one of our games is on national TV. Everywhere we play, there's been good crowds. I mean, you shouldn't get any more up for, Purdue, Kentucky, A&M. That's the job of a consistent competitor. Consistent competitors get up every single game. But I don't want us to be consistent in what we've done the last few games. So we do want to change, and Kentucky should grab your attention when you look at their numbers, and you better bring your A game with the way that they're scoring the basketball.
Yeah, they obviously had a rough game against South Carolina. Probably shows that what South Carolina did here wasn't a fluke. They're pretty good, but they beat Kentucky by 17. What do you think about that game, and what do you think that does to Kentucky's mindset coming in here?
Well, I mean, I know Coach Cal well enough that after a loss, I mean, they're going to be sky high, ready to play. That's for sure. South Carolina is really, really good, and we talked about it as a staff before the game, how good they were. They're super well coached. They're super connected. I have not looked at the attendance numbers. I'm assuming South Carolina probably had over 17,000. And, they won a home game in front of a great crowd. Unfortunately, when a team comes off a loss like that and they're really talented, it usually brings them together. And so I'm going to assume Kentucky's going to play as well as they have all year and be as ready to play this game coming off of a loss.
Let's got one more. You got a winning record against Kentucky in multiple games. I don't know the numbers, but there can't be too many guys that have a winning record when they play Kentucky a few times. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, nothing other than the fact that, we've had some past teams that were super talented, super focused, and very competitive. When we've played NCAA tournament games, or when we've played, games like Kentucky, and we've had past groups that have really risen to the occasion. And I think that, when we've played Kentucky, our players have like incredible respect, and we'll see if that trend continues tomorrow.
Okay, well, good luck. Appreciate your attitude.
Thanks, guys.